Here I am talking to the award-winning hitmaker, Pheelz. You've been co-signed by great acts from Barack Obama, Dr. Dre, Timbaland, DJ Khaled. You also were able to work with Usher for his most recent album, Coming Home. Just overall, how's everything been with you? How's everything been keeping up?
Man, everything has been amazing, man. Life has been a movie, God has been great, the fans have been great, I'm just, soaking it all in and taking it one day at a time as well. But yeah, everything has been amazing, man.
So with that being said, when it comes down to your music, it's got a huge blend of Afrobeats, R&B, pop, and you find a way to just seamlessly put those all together and mix it into different compositions and genres. How exactly do you go about it through the process when you're in the studio of creating your music? Do you have a certain way about how you go about putting pen to the paper, or do you try to like find the beats first, or is there any specific method that you have for yourself when it comes down to the music you make?
For me, it can come either ways. I can start with the beats first or start with the lyrics first, but all in all, the feeling comes first, utmost. Like it's about how I feel and what I want the song to make me and the fans feel. So I put the feelings first before I touch anything or write any line. And whenever I like write my lyrics or write my songs, I always make sure it is, coming from the place of truth. I don't like, writing folk tales or fairy tales or writing what is not true to me. Like, for example, when pick a song like Ruin, for example, that was literally off of a heartbreak that, I had, gone through and like, just writing a song about that, created a song like Ruin on the Usher album. When you pick all my songs, it's literally like truth and my life. So those are the things I put into consideration when I'm making music. But ultimately the feeling comes first. That's the first question I ask myself. What do I want to feel with this song?
Do you ever feel it's sometimes hard to relay and put your feelings onto paper and make it into music sometimes when you're not going through anything? Let's say, like you said now, life is good, life is fine, life is great. Do you sometimes have trouble tapping into the emotional appeal about what you want your music to state? Or do you find that it's easier since you've seen a lot, gone through a lot, experienced a lot, and that it's easier for you to now put your feelings into paper? Or do you kind of sometimes struggle with that?
I think it's a little bit of a struggle, to be honest, because I feel like that's why it took me a while to actually get behind the mic officially and be an artist, because I've been a producer for over a decade now, just writing songs and making hits for people. Because I see myself as one of the few true artists that still exist in this space, and like my music is my art. It's very special to me because it's how I heal. It's how I, go through life. So like it took me a while to allow people into that world of mine because before now I would just make songs for my own listening only. You get me? Like just for myself, just so like I heal or I go through things. But yeah, like it's still a little bit of a challenge for me putting my life and my emotions into music for, people to judge or to like or dislike or to like just have opinions over. You get me? It's the game, it's the blessing, and it's why I'm a rock star. It's why I'm an artist.
Do you personally feel that the music you make now, specifically Afrobeats, but you blend it a lot with a lot of different things, and you see
hmm
Nigeria as maybe the forefront of music, do you feel that making the music you make is sometimes made you feel like you're a target now, or you're like watched at a higher level, or do you feel like maybe like a weight of your on your shoulders to take a whole continent is now being like on the specific light that has been overall just encompassing the music genre itself?
For a while I was feeling like that because it's all new. Like this light is the brightest that I've ever seen. Like, and it's blinding sometimes. And sometimes you get into your head and into your mind and you start, you know how the mind gets now with all the chatters and all the noise that it makes up there. So, but recently I've learned to just believe in my source and believe in myself and just it's music, it's God given, it's talent, it's what I know, it's what I breathe, it's what I live. So like, I just choose to like stay in that source and just tune every other thing out. Like, for me it's about this is the music I want to make, this is the music I think I should make, and like there will be people that love it and there will be people that don't, and that is okay. Like as long as I get to make it, that's fine with me. So I feel like for me, I don't really, in a way, look at results anymore. Like I don't look at what people say anymore. I feel like I just live in the love for the music and the passion for the music. I think that's where I reside now, and like that's where I find peace. You get me?
Do you feel that you don't really see being an artist as a career then, in a
Oh
way,
no,
because you're not
oh
focused
no, I
on the
do.
numbers or anything like that? Or do you still feel that I'm at my true heart just someone who loves music and I make music and I try not to let the artist label. Like I understand, yes, you are an artist, but some artists don't try to see it as a career sense or like I need to meet this quota or meet these numbers or meet these statistics and such and such. I just make music that I love and I go from there and first foremost.
For me, I see it as a career. Like I understand the business of it. Don't get me wrong. Like there's a whole business to this, but I don't let that. I try not to let that dictate how I see the music or how I relate to the music. Because the emotion towards the art is, especially from the artist, is one of the most important things to the art. Like, how do you feel about what you're making? Like, you get me? Like, I don't want to, like, numbers are good, fine. It's all metrics, it's all report card, you understand? But like, I don't want that to be the driving force for my art, because then it starts becoming a product. It starts feels like manufacturing. That's what I'm saying. Me, I choose to stay in the creative source. I choose to stay in the passion of making the music, regardless of what the numbers are saying. You get me? Like for me, I always tell like my friends, like back then, even Olamide or Fireball, or like all these crazy artists that I've worked with. I've always told them that if I don't make a dime off of this music, this is still what I would do till I die. Like that's where passion comes in. You get me? So I just choose to live in that passion and like. Yes, the business is gonna be handled. Yes, you're gonna, talk to labels and like have labels, have input on that. But whenever I talk to the labels or whenever I do the business, I'm coming from a place of passion, not from a place of numbers. You understand?
Hmm.
Like that's who I am. That's what I mean. Yeah.
I was actually going to further ask also, is coming out of Nigeria, you specifically came from Lagos, correct?
Yeah. I'm in
So
Lagos right now.
do you feel or do you see a difference between the music industry in Africa compared to the United States? Because your music is now touching a lot of different places globally. But when comparing the
Hmm.
two, is there any specific key or main differences compared to like being an artist in Nigeria to also being an artist in the United States that you've seen also in any way from the differences in industry?
I would say yes, and I would say there are no differences in the sense that, whatever is done in the rest of the world can be done in Africa as well and can be done by Africans as well, you understand? But the only difference I would see is time and structure. Because Africa, the structure in the African music space is still growing. It's growing rapidly, but it's still growing. It's not like the structure in like America or like in LA or the rest of the world, but it will get there. It will just take time. Again, that's the only difference I say. It's just a difference in structure.
What do you mean by the structure? Do you mean as in terms of like how the music is consumed by the audiences, or do you mean the structure of how the
It
music is released?
it's everything. It's release, it's streaming, it's consumption, it's record keeping, it's all that. It's structure, you get me? That's the one difference that I see. But that is getting there. It's just gonna take time and it's just gonna take everybody's collective efforts to get it to where it should be. But that aside, when it comes to talent, when it comes to hustle, when it comes to grind, when it comes to delivery, on whatever level of professionalism it takes, I believe Africa is up to par with like every other person in the rest of the world. So in on that level, I don't see any difference. On the level of structure, that's the only difference I see.
That being said, you have heard the phrase "you're Mount Rushmore," correct? What would you say in a sense of for music? Let's say just today's modern artists that we have. We've mentioned before. We've got like Davido, we've got Thames, we've got Tyler. Who would you say is the Mount Rushmore of the forefront leading African music to just terms of the global landscape sense? Like you could put like the rap Mount Rushmore we hear like it's Biggie, Jay-Z, Nas,
Hmm.
Tupac, and such and such. But when it comes down to Afrobeats or African music itself, who would you say is the big four?
The big four, you're putting me on the spot now. I would say Burna Boy, Davido. I I would like to do five, to be honest. I'll say Burna Boy,
Okay,
then
we'll go five. We'll put five. That's fine.
Burna, Davido, Wizkid, Rema, Thames.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Yeah, no, I definitely think that's in there. I think the only person who would maybe be at a, if we could make it six, I might say Fireboy.
Yeah,
Maybe, yeah, like I think
that, but there are lots of Afrobeats acts like killing it right now, man. Like when you think of Fireboy, you think of Big Tony, when you think of Ashake, when you think of me, when you talk about Ira Star, like it's a whole floodgates right now.
do you feel that with how everything has been just so popularized right now with Afrobeats and just African music, and sometimes I don't like to call it Afrobeats because I know some people are saying, no, it's just African music. You don't have to put the two
hmm
and two. How do you feel about the terminology used as Afrobeats? Do you feel like it's got a negative connotation? Do you feel like it's positive? Do you feel like it's just what the genre's called? Or
Specifically where I stand on that is, for me, whatever name we choose to call it is just that, it's a name. Like the most important thing is the sound and the spirit of the sound. Like if we choose to call it Afrobeat, like I ride with the people, I die for the people. Like if the people decide to call it that, then that's what I'm gonna call it until we decide otherwise. But for me, the name is just, it's just a tag. It's just a tag for the rest of the world to understand what it should be called or what it is called. But like, the most important thing is the spirit of Afrobeat, is the spirit of the African music. Another thing that is important is educating people as well to the true identity of the sound that is Afrobeats. Like this whole new light that is shining on us is beautiful. Don't get me wrong; it's the most beautiful thing that could ever happen right now. It's amazing, but like at the same time, it's sometimes scary because a lot of misunderstanding can go around real quick, and I feel like it's on us as the African creative to educate the world now on what the African sound truly and really is. So yeah, like shout out to everybody trying to wave their own flag, shout out to Bonla doing Afrofusion, shout out to I think CK is doing Afro emo. Like everybody's waving their own flag, which is nice. I'm not kicking against that, but we need to always remember that there's collective consciousness and there's a people behind this. It's not just a single entity. You are carrying a whole continent on your head when you're outside, when you're out there in front of the world. So represent the people, be a people person and wave the people flag, whatever flag we choose to call it, whether it's Afrobeats, whether African music, as long as the people decide to call it that, that's the flag I'm going to wave. And that's what I would advise everybody else to do. But that's just me.
do you find competition between some of your collaborators or just other artists itself in terms of that? Or do you feel it's more of like an uplifting, we are here to make sure to see everybody win? And rather than not see like a competition standpoint, do you feel like it's more of like a unity kind of thing?
I think it's a little bit of both. Humans are humans, you get me, regardless. Some people are amazing people, some people are shit. That's just how the life works. It's a little bit of both, but it's mostly unity, it's mostly good energy and good vibrations because we understand that, when it's time to like do the work, we have to put egos aside because this is not just for us. This is for the future. This is for the next generation to come. This is for all of Africa. This is not just for Pheelz. This is for everybody, man. I keep saying it anywhere I go around the world, man. Like now is the time for the craziest collaborations, man. Like the craziest collaborations on tracks, the craziest collaborations on tour, the craziest collaborations everywhere, man. Because we have to save this light for Africa and for the next generation. So yes, it's mostly, unity, but sometimes, humans can be humans too.
I agree with you on that. I think collaborations are definitely the path to take. And we've seen a little bit of it lately. We've seen Justin Bieber work with Wizkid, and
Yeah.
we've seen Pop Smoke and Burna Boy collaborate and such and such. I think Afrobeats is definitely getting that mainstream light. We have yet to see, and maybe I've missed it. Maybe I'm ignorant to seeing it, and maybe I've not heard it. I think we need a posse cut, you could call it, of the 4 to 5 biggest African artists right now to get together. I think we need like a Burna Boy, Tyler, Davido, Pheelz mix. I think we need something in that sense to really
Yeah, like a We Are the World.
we are the world. Yes.
Exactly.
I think that would definitely put everything over from what it should be. And it's like shows that we're here to stay too.
Exactly. Like I believe if we achieve that, I mean, I might just go Quincy Jones on everybody and try to pull that off. But I believe if you can do that with the right message as well, like the right lyric and the right message, I think we can actually shake the world if we can, leave our egos at the door and just make that happen. We'll see how it goes.
So aside from the future of Africa as a continent and what it's looking like from the music scene and such, your upcoming EP Feels Good Too. What exactly are specific themes and emotions that you're exploring on this EP compared to the last one?
This new EP is an education to like Afrobeats. Remember what I said about how like now we need to educate people on the true identity of the sounds? That's what I'm trying to do with this EP. So like it doesn't really sound like the Afrobeat the world is familiar with. It's teaching the world that there are numerous other sides to Afrobeats, and it's me also like exploring those sides and putting my own twist to it. For example, there's a song called Majo on there that is me paying homage to Fuji music, and Fuji music from like Western area, and just putting my own futuristic twist to that as well. There's a song called Kamikaze that's just very slow and beautiful, but you would feel it in your guts. Like it's a song that will make you just feel something. You get me? So it's just me like exploring other sides of Afrobeat and showing that to the world as well, that it is more than one sound, it is more than one style. It is a whole plethora of sounds, and these are some of the other sounds that you guys might have missed. Because I feel like being a producer, I almost see it as a duty because I have like the skill set enough to be able to teach and educate. You get me? So I almost see it as a duty to educate the world on the sound itself and like just take the world on a journey. That's how I think I'm very different from like every other artist because I'm a producer as well, and I understand the sonics in the true sense of like its identity. You get me? And I think it's one of my duties, like, to show that to the world as well.
Do you feel that other artists haven't really taken that role that you've done as a teacher in that sense to actually show the roots of what African music really can stem from? Because I feel is that of what a lot of nowadays artists have been doing has been collaborating the modern day Afrobeats genre with other genres versus trying to go in a traditional sense. And we see it sometimes. I definitely agree that we've seen some Burna Boy taking a traditional route, but we've seen him mix hip hop elements in there, or we've seen Tyla mix pop and Afrobeats as well too. But do you feel that with you taking that role on as like I want to go true traditional roots Afrobeat sound or African music sound, like you said with your song Majo, do you feel like there are other artists that aren't doing that, or would you say that there are still some doing that that are also in the mainstream limelight?
To be honest, I think a lot of us do that without even knowing that we are doing that. I think, like, if you pick Burna Boy, for example, I think Burna Boy does that a lot. He might not realize that he's doing that, like, consciously, but, like, there's a certain level of traditional spirit and music that has been engraved in us from like childhood, every single African child. But for me, I choose to consciously do it, maybe because of like my musical background or my skill set or like just me being a producer. But like every single African creative has that African spirit. Like I'm a product of the music that I would like hear my dad listening to or his dad listening to, or like when you look at it this way, it's like generational contribution. So it's like contribution over generation. So like a lot of us do it without even knowing. But me, I'm just conscious doing it for this project. And also, yeah, I'm mixing like pop, I'm mixing R&B, I'm mixing all these things together with it as well. But at the root of it, the foundation is African music. Get me? Like the root of it is African music. And and that's what it Feels Good too is about.
So from your early days in Lagos, really, and from how you're being recognized globally, and you've seen the growth of African music. You've seen it from a producer standpoint, from an artist standpoint, and you've really journeyed through this industry. You've seen your music touch other areas of the world, which probably was something that, let's say, 5, 10 years ago was not the case. Like we didn't see African music at the forefront. Like what Burna Boy is now, he's a global superstar. Before he was an African superstar, but now he's at a global level.
Yeah.
So, for your own specific experience and your journey itself, what has been the favorite part that you've experienced for yourself from someone who's really part of the era that has watched the growth and seen the change and overall just seen the boundaries get pushed and the overall the tower get higher and higher and higher for what the peak has been, and there's really no ceiling at this point.
Yeah, there's none. Personally or the genre as a whole?
How about we start personally and we'll go as a whole?
Personally, some of the craziest moments for life has been a movie, man. Would be meeting my idols and like my icons, like, the Timbalands, the Dr. Dre's, the Ushers, the Pharrell Williams, and, just having a conversation with these guys and just learning and at the same time teaching them as well, like about my sound and about my craft. Like that's like one of the craziest heights for me. Just sitting across the room to Timbaland and hearing Timbaland call me the future of Afrobeats and Afrobeats 2.0, and just hearing like people that I've looked up to all my life just say that about me, or sitting with Dr. Dre for like 3 days straight in the studio and just making music and writing and recording. And Snoop Dogg walks in just casually. Like it's just like it feels like a movie. Like that, those are some of the craziest moments. Some of the crazy moments for me as well will be performing as well. Performing Finesse at the O2 stage with Davido 2 days after I just released the song, and 20,000 people sang back at me word for word. Like, performing in places like Martinique where they don't really speak English like that, but when Finesse comes on, it's like everybody's Nigerian. Performing, just performing in America, doing my first show, my first headline show in America. I just finished the London show recently. Like all these things are things that I'm really grateful for, and it just humbles me to like be able to like experience all this, and it just makes me very, very grateful and very thankful to where like the music has gotten to as well, and also very optimistic about the future because I know this is just the beginning for both the genre and both fields as well. So yeah, those are some of the moments that you know, that have blown my mind. For the genre, yeah, man, I don't even know where to start, man. Where do you start with that? A lot of amazing things keep happening, has happened, will happen. Like when you take Burna Boy and him selling out arenas now and doing stadiums, like yeah, like Burna Boy can on a good night just sell 60,000 tickets and 60,000 people comes to see Burna Boy perform.
Currently, the Michael Jackson Afrobeats, I've been telling people.
Yes, I agree, no doubt.
At that.
No doubt. No doubt. Or was it when Whiskey did 3 days at the O2 back to back and sold out everything? Or Davido doing a Fall Fire and then still going on to be Davido with Unavailable. There's or with Tyler with the wave that she's on right now, or with Thames with the wave that she's on right now, or with Ira and the wave that she's on right now. Or look at a story like Ashake, look at Fireboy, look at like so many guns are firing at the same time that it's crazy. Like, and it's just so beautiful to witness because as you said, I've witnessed this as a producer. Now I'm witnessing it as an artist and a producer. I've been in this industry for over 12, 13 years, and I've seen how like it grew from something small and something that's just for the country and the continent to now something that is for the whole world. And it's just beautiful to see. And it also does something to my own mind as well, that like no dream is too big. Like there's literally no ceiling right now. Like you can literally be anybody and touch the whole world, like literally right now. So it just and I really like that. I really like seeing this because it does something for the younger generation coming up as well, because they can see that okay, the ceiling is bigger right now. The possibilities are endless right now. Like before, like we wouldn't really think of doing 80,000 seaters and 100,000 capacity stadiums. But now, because Burna Boy has done it, it is possible for the next generation. It's possible for me to think that, okay, I can do it too. So like that does something to the African child and to the African youth as well. You get me? So all this just makes me very grateful that we're all going through this because this is just the tip of the iceberg. Only God knows what the future holds for everybody as an African creative. So it's just all very exciting, man.
Yeah, I definitely think that is completely true, and that's a beautiful statement. I definitely agree that like right now is tip of the iceberg, like you said. This is
Mm-hmm.
almost similar to I compare this is when Daddy Yankee came back out in 2004 and he did
Yeah.
Gasolina and reggaeton took over since then. And we saw Despacito and we saw how much it went even higher than what we thought it was going to be at before. So I think when you have songs like Last Last or you have even Water, this is really going to take over and really going to go up more than we thought. The Grammys have even acknowledged it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really just such a small tip of the iceberg. And I think you're at the point where you're going to be part of that forefront to lead through and really show that this music is here to stay. Our people have more to say too, as well. On top of that, it's really just a whole shift that I think that your music is eventually going to be a really big part about this. And everyone from that matter. It's real. And the best part is it's unity, like you said. There's